Hey, today we are on pages 9 and 10 of our notes. So we've been talking about proportional relationships, which we did in 7th grade. And now we're going to introduce what we do in 8th grade, which is called non-proportional relationships. And we call them very specific something, and we'll talk about that next week. So we are on page 9 and 10. We're going to do a little bit of notes just to kind of relate how proportional and non-proportionals and how relationships and how they compare. So page 9 and 10, we have a little bit of vocab, and then we're just going to do a couple of problems. So a relationship between two quantities is non-proportional if the ratio between the two quantities is not equivalent or not the same, okay? So a graph of a non-proportional relationship will not pass through the origin. Okay, so the one feature of a graph of a proportional relationship is that it always would pass through the origin or pass through 0. So right now, if it's non-proportional, it's not doing that. So when it crosses the y-axis at a certain point, which is not 0, that is known as our y-intercept. Okay, so the origin is 0, 0. So whenever we have something that's passing somewhere else besides the origin, the ordered pair will be 0, comma, whatever that value is. Okay, so I like to write y-intercept. So what is true about the x value? Well, the x value of a y-intercept will always be 0. Okay. Just with non-proportional, it's not starting at the origin. It could be starting at a positive number or a negative number. Okay, so last time we took notes, we talked about Hillary, and she found this one gym that was $25 a month. Okay, now in her search for a gym, Hillary found a second location that charges a $10 as a one-time sign-up fee, and then just $20 a month. So we're going to use this information to complete the following just like we did before. Okay, so we have a table just like we had before. So it says to complete the table to show the relationship between the number of months at the gym and the total cost. Okay, so before it was 0 months, $0. But she has to have a sign-up fee, which is $10. So before she even starts this membership, it's going to charge her $10. Okay. Then every additional month, it's going to cost $20. So after the first month, it will cost a total of $30 for the sign-up fee and for the $20 for the month. Okay. Then for 2 total months, it would be a total of $50. 3 total months would be a total of $70. 4 total months would be a total of $90. Okay. So what we're doing right now is we have to have this $10 fee, okay, always. Then plus we have to pay $20 a month for every single month. So for this first one, it was 0 months. For 1 month, it would be $10 plus 21 time. For 2 months, it'd be $10 because that's the sign-up fee, plus $20 for 2 months. So 20 for 2 months would be $40 plus the sign-up fee. For 3 months, it would be $20 for 3 months, which would be $60 plus the 10 sign-up fee, and then $10 plus $20 for 4 months would be $90. 20 for 4 months would be $80 plus the 10. So what we did is we always had this sign-up fee plus $20 for every number of months. So we had all these different inputs. So if we don't know the exact input that we're talking about with Hillary, we'll just use a variable x. Okay? And that will get us our output or our y value. Okay, so the first question is, what is the slope or the rate of the change shown in the table? So we're just going to do the change over the change. So I'm going to do the change in the y values over the change in the x values. So how do we go from $10 to $30? We go up 20. So the change in the y's are going up by 20s every time. Okay. Then the change in the x's, how do we go from 0 months to 1 month, is it's going up by 1s. So the slope is a 20 to 1 ratio, or just a slope of 20. Okay, the second thing it asks is, what is the value of the y-intercept? So to find that, we have to find the starting point. I like to call it also the starting point. So this one starts 0 months, okay? And my output is $10. So this would be an ordered pair of 0, 10, or the value of the y-intercept would just be 10, whatever you guys prefer. Okay. Then the last question is this table proportional? So again, to check if something's proportional from 7th grade, we just check our ratios. Okay, so I'm gonna check all of our ratios y to x. Okay, I'm not gonna do the 0 month because that one's kind of weird. So I'm gonna do $30 for 1 month, okay, $50 for 2 months, $70 for 3 months, $90 for 4 months, okay? And then if I get my calculator, if I simplify, 30 to 1 is 30, 25 to 2 is 25, okay? 70 to 30, 70 to 3 would be 23.3 repeating, okay? And then 90 to 4 would be 22.5. Okay, so the question is this table a proportional relationship? And the answer is no, because the y to x ratio are not the same. 30 is not equivalent to 25, which isn't equivalent to 23.3 repeating, and not equivalent to 22 and a half. These ratios are not the same. Okay, so just like before, we are also going to graph this relationship. So we have our table, we have our x values, which are our months. So I'm going to write months on my x-axis. And our output, which is our y values, which is the cost of the money. So now I'm going to just plot this. 0 months still had a sign-up fee of $10. So 0 months, $10. 1 month, $30. 2 months, $50. 3 months, $70. And 4 months, $90. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line, and I'm going to extend it past 490 because it could be more. It continues on. Okay, so this again asks the same questions, and they will be all the same answers, but they're for different reasons because we're just looking at a graph. So this one says, what is the slope or the rate of change? So for this one, instead of finding the change in the y's over the change in the x's, we're going to calculate the rise to run ratio. Okay, so we have to pick 2 good points. Okay, so I'm going to pick these 2. Okay, so the rise goes up from 10 to 30, which is 20. Okay, and then it goes from 0 to 1, which is 1. It goes up 20 over 1. Okay, and a 20 to 1 ratio is equivalent to just 20. So again, the slope is the same. So we calculated the slope just different ways. Okay. B says, what is the value of the y-intercept? So I like to think about this as like a starting point. When I look and visually see a y-intercept, I see where it crosses the y-axis. And where it crosses the y-axis is at 0, 10. Or you could just say that the value of the y-intercept is 10. Okay. Then the last question says, is this graph proportional? Explain. So 2 things have to happen for something to be proportional. First, it has to be a straight line. So it is a straight line. It is constant. It has a constant rate. Okay. But the second thing is it has to start at 0. And if I look at this, this does not start, or it doesn't pass through the origin. So no, this is not proportional because it does not pass through the origin. Okay, so in a table, we actually had to compare the ratios. In a graph, we just have to look, does it pass the origin? No, both of them are non-proportional. Okay, so then it says write an equation on page 10 to represent the relationship between X, the number of months at the gym, and Y, the total cost. Okay. So we know that it is $20 a month. plus a $10 sign-up fee. Okay, and that will equal, I guess I should say, equals our total. Okay, so we know that X is the number of months and Y is the total cost. So this equation can be represented as Y equals $20 a month, so 20X plus the sign-up fee of $10. I don't have to do this once a month. I have to do it just one time. Okay, so it says, do you see the slope in the equation? Well, yes, the slope is 20, and it is multiplied by the X variable. C says, do you see the y-intercept in the equation? So the y-intercept is 10, and I see it just kind of added at the end. Of the rate or of the slope. Okay, so what conclusions can we make about non-proportional relationships? It looks like it has y equals our slope times x plus our y-intercept. So our slope is 20, so we have our slope times our input x, then plus that extra $10 for Hillary's problem at least. Okay, so this is the most important equation that I actually teach you guys in 8th grade, and it is non-proportional equations can be written in the form y equals mx plus b, okay, where m is the slope or your rate of change, and b is your y-intercept. So the last thing we're going to do today is we're just going to look at it and hopefully identify the slope of something and the y-intercept of something. Okay, so y equals negative 4x plus 9. We need to decide, what is the value of the slope, what is the value of the y-intercept, and then would it be proportional or not? Okay, so I like to just write the equation. So here's an equation of a proportional equation, just y equals mx, and then in non-proportional relationships, we just have an extra added number at the end or at the beginning, just depending on what we're looking at. Okay, so I can just visualize the slope. I can just see what is attached to the x value. And so it's telling me that the slope is negative 4. I guess I should use not a highlighter. So the slope is negative 4, or a negative 4-to-1 ratio. Okay, if we can start getting in that mindset of whole numbers still having a denominator of 1, that will help us when we actually start graphing. Okay, do we have a y-intercept? Yes, we do. It is 9. Okay, or if you can also start getting in that mindset of it being an ordered pair, 0, 9, both are correct. Both, you would still get the same answer, just understanding that they mean the same thing. Okay, if it is proportional, okay, it would start at the origin, okay? But because we have a y-intercept of value that is not 0, 0, it is non-proportional because it starts at 9, 0, 9, instead of starting at the origin or passing through the origin. Okay, I want you guys to go ahead and try 2 and 3. Go ahead and pause this video, give it a shot, and then we'll go over the answers whenever you guys hit on pause. Okay, so y equals 3/4 x minus 8. It's first asking what the slope or the rate of change is. So we're looking at just for the value that's attached or multiplied to the x or our input. And so our slope is a 3-to-4 ratio. Okay. The starting point, we see minus 8. Okay, so our y-intercept would be actually a negative 8 because we see subtraction in this case. Or as an ordered pair, it could also be 0, negative 8. And because we have a y-intercept at negative 8, that means it's not passing through the origin, so it is non-proportional. Okay, so for the last problem, we have y equals 1.25x. Okay, so our slope is 1.25. Okay, and if you just want to leave it like that, you totally can. You can also convert it into a fraction if you want. if you type in 1.25 and hit enter, and then hit math PRB, it'll convert it to a fraction first, and that would be 1 1/4. Then if you like converting it into mixed numbers or an improper fraction, you can, or you can hit math ABC, and it will convert it to 5/4 for you. Both are correct, and we don't really know the context if it's a word problem or just a regular problem, so you could keep it as 1.25. I'm not too picky. Okay. Then we have the starting point, or the y-intercept. So there is no extra added number, so that means it starts, or it passes through the origin, or it passes through 0, 0. Okay, and because it passes through 0, 0, it is proportional. It's like 7th grade math all over again. Okay. Caroline is, this last problem is a word problem. Caroline is going to the state fair with a group of friends. It costs her $12 to get in. Okay, and once she is inside the fair, she can buy tickets for $1.75 each in order to play games, purchase food, or go on rides. Okay, so it says to write an equation to represent the represent the relationship between the total cost, y, and the amount of tickets, x, that she buys. Okay, so I'm going to write this problem again. So she has to pay $12 to get in. Okay, to get in. Plus, she also has to pay 75 cents for every single ticket. Okay. And however much she wants to buy, that will equal her total cost. Okay, so this equation could be written, okay, total cost is y, x is the number of tickets. So the equation that you could write it a couple different ways. You could write $12 to get in plus 75 cents a ticket equals total cost. You could also write it as y equals, because that's how you'll see it more often, $12 to get in plus 75 cents a ticket. Okay? A third way you could write it would be y equals 75 cents for every ticket plus that additional $12 to get in. Okay, so we can do these three. These are all equivalent, and we do that with the commutative property of addition. So all of them are correct. It's totally up to you how you write it. Okay, so it says, what is the slope or the rate of change? So for rate of change or for slope, I'm looking for this over and over concept is rate. And so I think of every ticket that she has to buy. So it's 75 cents for every ticket. Okay? And that's how I kind of saw that it was the slope. Okay? Then we have this y-intercept. So when I think about a y-intercept, I kind of think about like the start. So before she could do anything, she has to get into this fair, and it cost her $12 to get into the fair. So that is her y-intercept, or her starting value cost. Okay? Describe what the graph of this relationship would look like. Okay, so we know for sure, I'm just going to kind of draw a rough little sketch. Okay, we know for sure that she is going to have to pay $12. So her start is going to have to be $0, So I'm going to say that that's 12 right here. Okay. Then every additional ticket that she buys, it's going to be 75 cents. So it looks like it's going to have to go up 75 cents for every one ticket that she purchases. So it looks like it's going to go up and over. So a very rough sketch, nothing even that fancy, would be it going up, just showing that the cost is going to increase per ticket. Okay, so for today, you guys can be done, or you could also start the Go Formative. That's up to you. The Go Formative is what the practice is for tomorrow. So see you guys then. Let me know if you guys have any questions.